Today's episode of Market Zero is brought to you by theGrandSlamDunk.com, featuring sporting news, pop culture critiques, and enough nonsense to fill a stadium. Make sure to find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or just visit the website. Market. Welcome back and welcome home to the Market Zero podcast. We are having a special Week 2 edition of Market NFL.
Yeah, baby, Market NFL.
Can you feel it, Uncle Ben? Can you feel it? Are you excited?
I'm ready to roll, G-Money. I'm ready to roll.
Oh, we had a hell of a Week 1, man. Let's go into a quick recap of the games. NFL is here. Football is back. We had a full slate of games, the whole 9 yards. I guess we should start with that Thursday game. The Broncos beat Cam, beat his head in, really, and took game 1 of the NFL season off a squirrely iced kicker field goal.
Right.
Crazy game.
It was a good game. You had all the pageantry. The Mile High City seemed to be rocking. And Cam Newton took 1 headshot, 2 headshot, 3 headshot, 4.
Over and over again, man.
Which, yeah, well, it's football. It happens. He was a man about it, though. He didn't complain in the press conference or nothing. He took it. The Denver defense, I think, answered some questions. While they did lose some pieces, they looked like they were in mid-season form.
Ferocious.
And Denver, the luckiness of the Denver Broncos seemed to still be there. You know, your boy Trevor Siemian throwing interceptions that should have been. Throwing balls that should have been interceptions, and they ended up getting batted down by defensive linemen. I don't know, G-Money. What were your takeaways from the Bronco quarterback situation? This is a hotly debated topic on the Market NFL show.
Indeed it is. You know, I've got that something written down that you just mentioned. I've got lucky as shit written down because this Mile High Magic, it just keeps rolling, man. I mean, we talked about it earlier. Last year was just like a charmed season. And a lot of intercepted balls slipped through fingers, a lot of lucky breaks, a lot of fumbles and stuff. And again, same thing coming out here. They get this crazy missed kick. I mean, icing the kicker actually worked.
Right.
Simeon, he got lucky. He totally got lucky. He didn't look outstanding, but he didn't look out of place either. He looked like an NFL quarterback.
Right.
You know, not too rushed, nothing too crazy. He looked pretty calm standing back there. Made decisions, made a couple plays. I'm not thrilled, but I'm not scared anymore. Sure. It'll be okay. And like you said, the defense looks like they're in mid-season form. They come out and just attack Cam.
They look great. They look great. You know,
they did.
And I know.
Yeah, they did.
I know the big thing Friday morning on all the national shows, they were talking about the headshots and helmet-to-helmet contact and all that. And I think, you know, one of the things you notice in the college game versus the pro game, if they see helmet-to-helmet contact, the booth is phoning down, and that guy gets ejected. I got to believe you're going to see something like that at some point in pro football, but you may not. I mean, they're both different games. They really are. So they'll definitely be policed differently. If you're a Carolina fan, I don't think you should be worried because Carolina showed up to play. Luke Kuechly was all over the field. C.J. Anderson looked good. I'll tell you what, the Bronco offensive line looked way better than
much
anything.
Improved.
Yep.
Significantly improved.
And that makes me feel good about Denver's chances, having a good running game and a solid defense. That is a formula that works out in the NFL. So I think if you're a Bronco fan, you're excited about that. I think if you're a Carolina fan, you may have taken it in the chin a little bit, but you shouldn't be too worried about your ball club because they still play good defense, and Cam Newton is still Cam Newton. You know, Kelvin Benjamin, have him on my fantasy team. I have him
There
on
you go.
both fantasy teams. Was my flex probably my most outstanding fantasy performer on my two teams that I have. So that was good to see.
Yeah, Kelvin Benjamin coming back definitely was encouraging. You're right. Carolina looked like a solid team. I think this was every bit a Super Bowl rematch. Both teams didn't really show that much lag, and it came right down to the wire. So I think if anything, Carolina, I kind of noticed they learned how to deal with the pass rush a little better. Their line gave Cam a little more time, and while he did take some big shots and some big hits, Cam's going to do that. They use Cam as a runner. They use him as a lead runner in power run things, so he's going to take hits. And so I'm not sure. I think there was maybe one or two that should have been called a little worse. They did end up fining both Darian Stewart and Brandon Marshall for the hits, but they weren't egregious fines. They weren't like made an example of. They were just kind of the on schedule base fine, no previous offenses, nothing like that. But they did hit the wallet on those. There definitely was some helmet to helmet, but I think we learned that's how you play Cam. That's how you beat Cam. Is you hit him as hard as you can, and you see if he can bounce back from it. And it was close. By all rights, I think Carolina probably should have won that game, shouldn't they?
Sure. I think they play that game 10 times. Carolina probably wins at least 7. One of the things, I haven't looked this up, but coming out of that game, have you heard any news on Demaryius Thomas?
No, I heard they're definitely monitoring him. He had like a crazy hip rotation sprain. I have not heard official word. Kind of scary. I don't think it's too concerning, but no, I'm not sure.
Okay. Because I have been a proponent for several years of throwing the ball to Demaryius Thomas. I don't know if I've ever said that to you.
Maybe once or twice. Maybe once or twice, yeah.
That's definitely something to keep your eye on. It was a great opening game, I think, for the NFL. They should be very pleased. And then we got into the weekend. Do you have any takeaways for the games on Sunday?
I've got. I came across one stat, and it comes from one of my my all-time favorite players, and there might be a hint of sarcasm in that word "favorite." Okay. Our buddy Reggie Bush had an interesting stat line. 3 attempts.
Reggie, go ahead.
Reggie Bush had 3 attempts. He is still playing football. 3 attempts, -4 yards. He had an average of negative 1.3 yards per carry. Attaboy Reggie.
Any chance you get to kick a USC kid when they're down, you're just going to take it, aren't you, G-Money?
Gale Sayers my ass.
Who's he? I had no idea he was still in the league. Who's he playing for?
Oh, I don't even remember now. It was, isn't it Detroit, I think? No, Miami? Shit, I don't even remember now. That's hilarious.
The stat line speaks for itself. It doesn't matter.
No, yeah, it doesn't. So anyways, that was my favorite.
I like that. How are you feeling about your boy Marcus Mariota down in Tennessee?
Boy, Mariota, that was a tough one. I had some game notes to that game. He didn't have a bad game. He scored 2 touchdowns for the Vikings. Yeah, Mariota scores 2 TDs for the Vikes. It's just he doesn't play for the Vikings.
Right.
Directly responsible for 14 points. A pick 6 and then a fumble that was returned. Basically handed the game over. I think there was a lot of positives from it. He definitely made some plays and kind of dragged them back at the end, but couldn't overcome, literally handing the Vikings 2 touchdowns. So that was tough, especially with his counterpart, Jameis Winston, having a monster day with 4 touchdowns and looking pretty fucking awesome.
Slim down Jameis, making me look really good in my in one of my fantasy leagues, and my wife as well, making her look really good in the GrandSlamDunk.com fantasy league. She was quite proud of that pick, and he paid off. Jameis looks good. If you didn't see that Jameis was going to have that second year bounce that usually number 1 quarterbacks have, the learning curve, he's kind of caught up to it. And with how the league really, really wants quarterbacks now, I mean, you had to see him coming. I don't necessarily know if he has, a record-setting year. I don't know how good Tampa Bay is, but I definitely feel like they're the second best team in their division. with him if he's going to sling the ball around. Did you see the speech that he gave to Florida State on Saturday? Did you see, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago when they were playing Ole Miss? Oh man, it was great.
I did not.
He ain't no puppy dog. He ain't no puppy dog. We some dogs. We some dogs. We gonna get at it. It was great. Jameis has that quality. I think he's got
the boy can preach.
Quality.
He can preach.
Right. No, and he can. I mean, he obviously can play football. So I think people jumping on the Tampa Bay Bucks bandwagon. I think that's a good way to go. As of right now, he's always going to get compared to Marcus Mariota just because they came in. But right now, he's definitely ahead of your boy Mariota, which I'm sorry, G. It's okay, though. It's okay. It's a long season.
That's fine.
Dude.
No, that's okay. I'm not too bitter. And actually, it should sting worse. I was impressed with the guy. He's a legitimate quarterback. That bomb that he dropped into Mike Evans' hands was a thing of beauty. I mean, he's got a gun of an arm, and the boy can lead. He can preach. He can rally men together. And I think he's good. I should be bitter because your wife's performance from him, or the fantasy points he got your wife, are essentially what beat me because I was matched up with her. So Jameis Winston and Carlos Hyde, cut the legs out from under a pretty decent fantasy week from my perspective. I had some good performances. But yeah, Mariota's got some stuff to figure out. He's got to make better decisions. He's got to eliminate turnovers. If he doesn't give those points to Minnesota, they probably win the game.
Right. So I don't think Minnesota necessarily answered some questions. I think they still have some things to prove, and they'll have an opportunity.
The defense looked good though, with those touchdowns and scoring points. It's not all Mariota's fault. I think this defense is pretty solid in Minnesota.
Well, you're going to find out this week when they play Green Bay. But before we get to that, you mentioned fantasy heartbreak. At least you got into the hundreds in terms of point total with your team, and you aren't stuck with Todd Gurley and the anemic Los Angeles Rams offense. I don't know if the last game of the weekend was on Monday night with the Rams playing the 49ers, and Todd Gurley, my number one draft pick in the GrandSlamDunk.com fantasy league, got me 4 total points, which is what you really want the production out of your number one draft pick to be 4 points. Completely screwed me, and I lost to my my arch nemesis Danny.
Danny Green,
which is always fucking Danny Green. Excuse me.
He's back in town. Our friend Danny Green. Some of you have heard Jolly Jeff Green on the podcast, and we've also heard Will. We've also heard Big Willie.
Big Willie style.
These are all Big Willie style. Yeah. So these are all the Green brothers, and we're gonna get Danny on pretty soon. But he's back in town. He's been living abroad. He's been out in the Arabian desert for a while teaching English. But he has come home, and he's in the league live in person. So we'll make sure to get his take on his fantasy team pretty soon coming up. But sounds like you lost the initial battle to your foe.
I had no shot, man. I mean, I think I ended up with 70 points. I mean, when Todd Gurley only gets you 4 points and he's supposed to be your, my only top performer. I mean, Cam Newton was my quarterback and he did all right. But Kelvin Benjamin scored me a lot of points. But when the only points you get out of your running backs are from 4 points from Gurley and Arian Foster, who I think got 6. If you're getting 10 points just from your running backs, you're not going to win very many fantasy games. So it was week 1. There was some frustration. This is why, I don't know, I may have said this once or twice to you before. I hate fantasy football. I will play it, but I hate fantasy football because it's just frustrating.
Boy, it didn't take long, huh?
My last takeaway, maybe we'll get to this as we get into lines and stuff. There were 2 things. One, despite the awful finish for the Dallas Cowboys, I think Dallas is going to be all right without Tony Romo. And I felt that way watching the game. I think the Giants are very good. And I think Dallas, while Cowboy fans are probably feeling as though you've seen this TV show before, I think they're better than they were last year. I think they actually have a squad there. So if their wide receivers can just learn to run out of bounds and to manage the clock, I think they're going to be all right. In an NFC East that you and I kind of looking at it before the season started, thought how crappy they were. I actually think the NFC East is going to be on a bit of the up and up after week 1. I liked what I saw out of the Cowboys and the Giants. And then Carson Wentz, granted he was playing the Cleveland Browns, but he looked like a professional quarterback. He looked like he should have been the number 1 overall pick. I like that. And then my Pittsburgh Steelers going into Washington, D.C., and wiping the floor with Kirk Cousins and the you like that Washington Redskins. Those were kind of the big headlines for me.
Yeah, I think I'll touch on Dallas. Definitely pulled to Dallas. I mean, this is just how they do it. I feel like there's a culture bred there that just engenders like these weird knucklehead slip-ups, and it always seems like they're blowing it in a weird, stupid way. And I mean, just run out of bounds. It's all you got to do. Right. And he makes a cut in, and it seems so perfectly Dallas to me for them to lose like that. But I got a couple things written down on the game. Dak was fine. Dak Prescott looked like a fine quarterback. I think that offensive line is going to protect him well enough. I think Ezekiel Elliott seemed kind of disappointing from a fantasy perspective, but they pounded him. He only got 51 yards on 21 carries, so the per average wasn't very good. But they ground him down. He ended up getting a touchdown. So they're going to road grade, and I think they'll be all right. I think this game, I think Carson Wentz can beat these teams. I mean, he looked like the real deal. And I think our guy, great. The real Bass guy, called it. He was the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, the Rams can't even get this guy onto the field. The hopeless Rams. I want to touch on them too. I mean, 28-0 in the Monday night game. Is Chip Kelly good, or is Fisher just that bad?
Right.
I think he's that bad. Why does he still have a coaching job?
He looked like a guy who much like Tom Coughlin has looked the last couple seasons. He looked like a guy where all of a sudden he looked really old, as though the game had passed him by. So, granted it's only week 1, but I don't think the 49ers are any good, and the Rams looked awful against them. Right.
That's what I'm saying. I thought the 49ers were going to be real bad, and I don't think they're a decent team, and the Rams had them put up 28 points. The Rams, well, they let Carlos Hyde score a bunch of touchdowns, and that's also what contributed to my fantasy downfall. But anyways, yeah, the Rams, they shouldn't be this terrible. They've got a couple amazing players that should really be contributing, and the team's just bad, and I can't figure it out. Yeah, it's a mystery. So Jeff Fisher should be fired. LA, you got a dud of a team, so enjoy that.
Welcome to the NFL, Los Angeles.
Welcome to the NFL, yeah. And I think some other things you touched on. I think Pittsburgh looked great. The burger in the Berg was just throwing patties all over the field. He didn't look as fit and trim as everybody said, though. You're right. He had a little muffin top. The burger was eating burgers, I think.
Yeah. No, he hasn't. I don't think he hit the cardiovascular training center once this offseason. Nah. He looks large and in charge. Big Ben, the burger in the Berg. I like it.
The burger in the Berg, man. He is from now on the burger in the Berg. But the burger looked good. I mean, they scored points. They racked it up. They actually pulled in a nice fourth leg of a parlay for me that ended up paying decent on this first week. So yeah, Pittsburgh looks sweet. I think they are definitely my still solid bet for the AFC champion.
I love it.
I think the only thing standing in their way is the Tom Brady-less Patriots still beat one of the better NFC teams this week 1. Jimmy Garoppolo goes out and beats the Cardinals. I didn't get to see much of this game, but I bet pretty heavy on it. The Patriots are the Patriots, and I gotta believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Matt Castle now, and all they need is Matt Castle to win 11 games, and fuck, the Patriots are right there.
Right. Now, it doesn't matter who is at quarterback for the New England Patriots. It looks like it all comes down to Belichick. They could have Tom Brady. They could have Janine Garofalo, which is what I'm going to call your new boy.
Yes. Oh, don't call him. He's not my boy. He's not my boy. Let's call him Janine, please. Yeah, Janine Garofalo.
Belichick he's that good, man. He's that good.
Yeah.
I mean, they were talking. PTI did a really long thing about this, and really. There was one Hall of Famer on the field in that game, in the Arizona-New England game, and it was Larry Fitzgerald. And New England didn't have an answer for him, but it didn't matter. They were solid. and they played smart football, and they pulled a New England.
Yeah.
So,
I think they're scary. I think they're still a dominant force in the division, and when Tom Brady gets back, he's going to be mad. It's going to be scary.
I think right now in the AFC, you got, I would say the Patriots are the best team. And then I think you have Denver and Pittsburgh, 2-3, depending on your biases where you put them. That's kind of where I go. New England also has some injuries, I guess. Their left tackle was out. Gronkowski isn't even playing. I mean, they don't have two Hall of Famers, and they still beat arguably, and what is the Arizona Cardinal deal? Like, the Cardinals are supposed to be good, right? Why are the Cardinals
I thought so.
not, right? They should win that game. That's a home game for them. They should win that game, and they Arizona seems a lot like the Cincinnati Bengals over the last couple of years, where they should be good, but they don't have that thing that puts them over the top.
They can't take the next step. They can't seal the deal. They can't get over the hump. And I don't know. It feels cultural with those two teams, especially with Arizona and Cincinnati. Like, they have the talent. They should be producing and getting playoff wins. And yeah, you're right. This is the home game. You've been touted. You've got all this talent. Everybody's ready for you to take that step, and you get beat. Just get beat by the Patriots, who know how to win, who it doesn't matter who their players are. Their culture is, we will win this game, and they did.
So, you got anything else with week 1? Can we move to week 2, or you got some more?
Hilarious. We talked about Carson Wentz beating the hapless Cleveland Browns. Robert Griffin III takes a shot, not even on the field, and sprains his shoulder.
Bob Griffin
is now
Bob
out.
Griffin.
Yep, Robert Griffin griffining. So that was pretty hilarious. And I mean, the Browns are just, I got to talk about the Browns too, because the fact that happened to Robert Griffin, and then they got thoroughly beat down by Carson Wentz, who they traded out of the spot to take him. They could have had this quarterback and a bunch of their draft picks. Well, they got draft picks from Philadelphia, but they could have had this quarterback. Sure. So it was just hilarious to watch the guy they traded for, Robert Band-Aid Griffin, get hurt again, and the guy they passed on beat the shit out of him. It was so vintage Cleveland Browns. Wasn't even funny.
It kind of sets the world right again, doesn't it? Because Cleveland's been riding high since the NBA Finals and Believe Land and all that. And,
right.
And it's
LeBron don't play football. He should, but he don't.
Yeah, he should be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. I bet you he could win them more games than Bob Griffin. What an idiot, dude! He's so dumb. I mean, why would you take that hit? What are you trying to prove?
No, get away. I mean, he can't avoid it. He just can't. He can't play football that way. He just can't.
Yeah, it's just dumb. And it's sad too, because he was so electric, and so special and so fast, and it just seems like he's pissed it all away. But I mean, these things happen. Not everybody is built to be a Hall of Famer. So,
nope, not at all. Not at all. So the Browns suck. So that'll be fun to bet against all year.
There you go. There's our dude. Here's a question for you. Does Cleveland win a game?
Yeah, I think so. Eventually, but maybe one.
I mean, based off of what you saw over the weekend, I can't imagine them winning a game.
Well, no, the thing is, McCown, who's going to come in, is not a terrible quarterback. Like, I think Josh McCown can win games.
Yeah, but his record is like 2-17 over, like, he in the last 4 or 5 years. Like, he's not, like, he may be a competent quarterback, but I mean, what else does Cleveland have? I mean, you're trying to trade Duke Johnson. I'm trying to trade Duke Johnson in another league.
Yep.
We want to get rid of these guys. Barnidge scored 0 points last week. I know non-sports guy Doug was pretty upset about that, because I have him in another league of mine, and he scored me 0 points. I lost that game because I needed Barnidge to score 4 points, and I would have been in the mix. And he just,
couldn't
it's
even
Cleveland.
do that.
Yep. So they suck. Bet against the Browns. You'll win some money this
Bet against
year.
the Browns.
Mark it.
Cleveland's terrible. Mark that. I think there were a couple other quick notes. The other teams in the AFC West had some kind of a crazy sort of comebacks.
Yeah.
The Kansas City San Diego game was wild. I spent the whole game just furious at Andy Reid for not only spoiling a parlay bet, but also fucking over my fantasy because I had Ware and Alex Smith on a team.
Right.
But Kansas City snaps back in the second half. San Diego, heartbreak city again. They build up a big lead and then piss it away in overtime.
Right.
So this was kind of crazy. Yeah, I thought the Chiefs were going to really screw me on two fronts. Andy Reid is notorious for blowing lock teasers in the gambling community. But they ended up coming back, and they pushed it to overtime. Alex Smith, small hands, dove into the end zone, and they end up getting it in overtime. So that was pretty exciting. I don't know if either of these teams are good or bad, but they scored a lot of points, and it was exciting. Kansas City should be good, but again, Andy Reid is Andy Reid. And then there was the big story out in Oakland, Jack Del Rio going for it for the 2-point conversion and besting the New Orleans Saints. Everybody's real fired up about the Raiders right now. And Del Rio for going for it. I'm not sold on them yet. I think the defense gave up a lot of points to Drew Brees. I think they got the benefit of a pretty generous call on that last drive, and then they still got lucky on a short 61-yard field goal that almost went in to lose it. So I think they squeaked away with this, but I'm not as confident in the Raiders as I was at the start of the season. So they got the win, and everybody's up on them, but I'm not sold.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and buy your Raider stock. I feel it just seemed different. It seemed like a different Oakland, soon to be Las Vegas Raiders. You had some attitude in Oakland that you haven't seen in a while, and that comes from Jack Del Rio. I mean, the ball's to go for two, and to go and try and win the game. I feel like that's how you move things forward in a franchise that has been absolutely a laughingstock and abysmal for the last 10, 15 years. I'm buying the Raiders, man. I thought they looked good. I think I don't think it matters what defense plays in New Orleans. I think Drew Brees is going to score points. And I feel like they were a victim to that. I like the Raiders. I'm staying on the bandwagon. I like what they're doing there.
All right. I think they definitely showed something. It's not easy to go to New Orleans and win. And you're right. I think that old Raider phrase, just win, baby, that is what they need. It doesn't have to be pretty and perfect, but they do have to come away with it. So, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe this is the turn of the tide. I was just impressed with the Broncos enough to not be scared of that win. So I think the Broncos are looking pretty solid in that division still.
When is that first game? When is the Oakland Denver first game? Do you know? Should I pull that up?
I do not off the top of my head. Yeah, if you can pull that off the top, that'd be cool. I'll go ahead and we'll transition us in. Those were the past weeks of week one. Again, it was an exciting week. A lot of good stuff happened. The first game was awesome. The last game was not. So we head into week two with that in mind. We've got some early lines out. There were 2 games so far that we did not see
3 games,
gambling
3 games.
lines. 3 games, right? 3 games that we
Yep.
did not see lines up yet for when we're doing this podcast. But I think we're going to go through each game. We'll say what we guessed, and we'll say the lines and kind of what we think. I'll just say right up front, I'm not very confident going into week 2. I think week 1, there was some matchups you could really tell. I think there were some things that were pretty undervalued, like that Patriots line. I mean, why would the Patriots be that far of an underdog? But week 2, I think it's going to be a little bit harder. I don't love any of the matchups. Some of the more lopsided ones are pretty heavily handicapped. So, yeah, I probably won't jump in as heavy in week 2 as I did in week 1. You got any thoughts?
Yes, I do, and I feel like I'm going to be able to talk you into some things. Real quick, the Oakland Raiders come to Denver November 6th, my friend, and that is a Sunday night game. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, make sure you circle that on your calendar because that's going to be a fun Sunday night. Maybe a throwback night in the Mile High City. That'll be a good one. I almost feel like I should buy a plane ticket and come in for that, G.
And you said that's the night game? That's the Sunday night? That's the national
Sunday
TV?
night game. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the whole nation will be watching.
Now, let me talk you into some week 2 stuff, okay? Can I do that? All right.
Yeah, do you want to go through the games, or do you want to go?
Let's go through the games. Let's go through the games. I tell you my spread, you tell me your spread, which sounds very perverted, but we'll go ahead and skip over that, and let's move on to what we have here. New York Jets.
All right.
At the Buffalo Bills. I like the road favorite here. I had the Jets by 3. What'd you have?
Same thing. I had Jets favored by a field goal.
Yeah. Bovato's got the line right now at -1 to the Jets. So they're favoring the Jets, but only by a point. I like that line. I like betting the Jets there. The over under is at 40.5. I feel like the Jets played a really tough team in the Cincinnati Bengals, a really good defense last week, and they only lost by a point. Ryan Fitzpatrick did his Ryan Fitzpatrick thing. He threw the soul-crushing interception, but Buffalo has nothing. And I like betting against Sexy Rexy. I just do.
I just man, nah, because I didn't really like the Jets to start with. Well, I mean, the line's not bad. It's basically a pick 'em. I mean, 1 point. I do have a little discrepancy there, thinking that the Jets are going to be favored by a field goal when it's only one. So they're not as big of a there's not as many points to overcome in that bet. I don't trust Buffalo's shittiness yet. Mm-hmm. And at home in a bounce back game, I think Rexy gets them fired up, and I think it's a toss game. I think whoever gets a key turnover is going to win it, and both of these teams have a good enough defense to get that turnover. I don't like it. I'd stay away. Makes me nervous. I could see either team, snapping to it and coming back from week 1 losses.
I just don't see. The Bills will be good on defense, but they're nothing on offense. And I guess I'm trying to pull up the injury report here and see because the Bills had a bunch of suspensions and guys out. Like their big nose tackle was out, and I can't find it. It's not coming up for me. Here we go. So the Bills have a lot of guys out. They got 2 tight ends out. They got a cornerback out. They got a safety out. I just feel like Sammy Watkins is out. I just feel like they're missing some pieces on top of Rex Ryan not being very good. So it makes me like the Jets. I feel like the Jets get back on track and roll. We'll definitely have to see that, see how that plays out.
That's not, week. Yeah. You're kind of the Sammy Watkins thing, man. He is always injured. It didn't take long for him to get back on the injury report, did it?
Right. No, he was hurt last year. You're right. All right.
You walked me off. I think you're probably right. Well, I think I'll keep it in mind.
Okay.
Maybe for a money line. I'm not sure. I think I'd lean towards the Jets for sure. I do think they have more talent. But man, Buffalo at home, I think Rex Ryan's teams are scrappy, and I don't like I don't like him at home.
Stay away. It is and that's the AFC East.
It's a Thursday night game too. Right. That's another point for the home team. Mm-hmm. Those Thursday night games are usually squirrely, low scoring, and they usually go to the home team.
Right.
So maybe look at the under in this one. Maybe I like the under.
40. Yeah, that's 40.5. 40.5. Ooh, I like that.
Might be something to consider. Under looks intriguing.
I'm gonna make a note of that, G. I'm gonna highlight my wonderful spreadsheet brought to you by Microsoft Excel, a program that I've used my entire life. And we'll go ahead and move on to our next game.
All right.
The Cincinnati Bengals playing my Pittsburgh Steelers at home. I had the Steelers by 3. What do you got?
Same thing. I had the Steelers favored by a field goal.
And we hit that right on the button, man. Bovada had it at -3 with Pittsburgh. They're over under 48.5. What makes you stay away from this game?
Again, I think they're just even matched. I don't see a clear winner. I would lean towards Pittsburgh, but then the points kind of make me shy away. I'll probably still include Pittsburgh, probably in a teaser. To get some points for them, because I do think they have the better team. I think they know how to get under the skin of the defense of the Bengals, like we saw last year. I think it's Pittsburgh's game. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be ugly. Like you always say, the black and blue division. These teams are going to beat the shit out of each other.
Right.
And I worry that Cincinnati has some revenge, kind of some stuff to prove from last year. That's why it would make me nervous.
Yeah.
Is just
they say that every year out of Cincinnati. Every year in Cincinnati, they say it's a revenge factor, and every single year it just doesn't set them. Let me sell you on the over/under there. The over/under's at 48.5. That is a division game in a very violent defensive division. Pittsburgh's defense looks very good. They look just. I mean, they were rushing the passer with 4 and playing some old school cover 2 zone behind it. Mike Tomlin kind of bringing a Tampa Bay influence into Pittsburgh, which I really liked. It harkens back to the root of the Steel Curtain when you think about Joe Green and Elsie Greenwood and that defensive line where they didn't have to blitz. They just had to rush for. Pittsburgh really looked like that. Now, granted, I crushed Washington, so I don't know how good Washington is, but I feel like it's going to be a defensive battle in Pittsburgh. I like the under here at 48.5.
I could see that. AJ Green makes me nervous, but I think Andy Dalton's good for a turnover or two to keep that line under.
Well, I feel like AJ Green is all they have. And Pittsburgh's secondary looks good. I don't know. I like the swagger, man. Timmons is flying around all over the place. Their secondary, they seem to have a lot more depth in the secondary. They're rolling a lot more guys in. Mike Mitchell playing safety. He's a hard hitter. It just feels like a traditional Pittsburgh defense. I'm buying the Steeler defense. And Cincinnati's no slouch either. I mean, they definitely have a criminal who's playing in Vontaze Burfict, who should still be in prison for blowing Le'Veon Bell's knee out and knocking Antonio Brown out of the playoffs last year. But that's a story for another podcast. I like the under there, as I said. That should be a good game. That should be we're going to learn a lot from that game, G-Money.
It'll be a tell game. It'll be a big tell game. Definitely got it starred. Looking forward to it. I think if Cincinnati can go in there and punch Pittsburgh and take the win on the road early in the division, then I think they're a serious Super Bowl contender. And I think I think Pittsburgh, we kind of know what they're about, and I think they can bounce back from it. So if Cincy loses, I don't think we'll learn a whole lot. But if Cincinnati can go in there and pull the win out early on, I think we might be looking at a different Cincinnati team this year.
Right. We shall see. We shall see. Next game on the docket, I have Tennessee at Detroit. I had Detroit by 7. Matthew Stafford looking really good, looking like the captain. Cursing and telling guys to get places. Right? Yeah.
He was screaming at people, putting them in charge, looking like a leader. Finally.
I had, as I said, I had Detroit by 7. What do you got?
Same thing. I had Detroit favored by a touchdown.
Okay. And Bovada has Detroit minus 6 right now. I don't know enough about these teams. Stay away from this. That's my thought. Their over-unders at 47. That feels high. 47 feels high for that. I don't know.
Now, I think I've actually seen some movement on this going upwards. I think Detroit is going to be in shootouts all year. I think Tennessee can put up points. Like I said, if Mariota just doesn't turn the ball over, I think they can score. 47, it's pretty high, but I think I still like that over right now. I think I like that game to go over. Okay. Other than that, I'd probably like Detroit to obviously score points. I think Tennessee's going to race to catch up, but I don't think they're going to be able to.
I like that. I'll go ahead and mark that. Baltimore at Cleveland. I had Baltimore by 3. What do you got?
I picked Baltimore by 5.5 to start with.
Okay. And they're actually, they're bad. We went over that. We thoroughly destroyed Cleveland earlier. I had when I looked at Bovada, they had Baltimore minus 7.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
With an over/under. Yeah, with an over/under at 43. I'd bet Baltimore on the money line here. That's still 7 points is a lot. Cleveland's bad, but I don't think Baltimore has. They got Flacco looks old. Steve Smith Sr. I don't want to say anything bad to him because he might punch me in the face if he ever sees me. And what do they have? I mean, they cut Justin Forsett and then they re-signed him like a day later. I don't know.
I'm really
very impressive to me.
I'm really upset about that Justin Forsett thing because while it didn't directly screw my fantasy team, it did screw up my father, who was doing really good to keep up with us all. Who's really, he's in there. He's doing the thing. He's got 2 teams this year, and he drafted Forsett, and like a couple of the guys in our draft looked at him and were like, "Oh, well, he got cut. Like, what are you doing?" And so he dropped him, and then he got picked right back up, and it's like, well, that sucks for fantasy purposes. Sucks. Not quite knowing like what to do and what not to do. You probably should have just held on to him, but I was just as baffled. He looked at me. I'm like, I didn't know he got cut. I don't know what's going on. Just a salary cap maneuver. But that was a bummer. Anyways, shout out to my father. Hope you're listening, Dad. Love you, buddy.
Shout out to Joe. Love you, boss.
But yeah, Baltimore seems like they don't have much firepower. You're right. Flacco looks old. What they were only able to muster 13 points in their win against Buffalo.
Right.
I don't have much confidence in this one. 7 points does seem like a lot. If it were less, I might get a taste. But that many points, I'm not betting on the home dog in Cleveland. I just don't like that taste in my mouth.
No, definitely not there. I think if I was going to bet Baltimore, I would tease the points down a little bit on that just to make myself feel comfortable.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Next game, we got the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington football team, the Washington Redskins. I had Dallas by 1.5. What'd you have?
So this is actually going to be one of my best bets. I had Dallas handicapped pretty high. I had them at 6.5 as a road favorite because I think Washington is bad. I think Washington is really bad, and
they're not good.
No, I mean, and what's the line you've got? I saw Bovada. Washington was a favorite, was a home favorite of 3 points.
They have Washington. They have Washington -3. Which I love. Yeah. I love this.
So that's basically. I like the Cowboys too. I mean, that's basically the line saying that they're pretty much even. It's just the home field advantage is the difference. That's usually what that field goal to the home team means. And I think Dallas is fine. Like I said, Dak is fine. That offensive line is just going to chew through the Redskins. I don't think Kirk Cousins can do anything.
Right.
Yeah, I like the Cowboys big in this one. This is my bet of the week.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Can we make this our Grand Slam Dunk of the week?
Grand Slam Dunk pick of the week. Mark it.
No, the blueprint is out on how to beat Washington. You put your best receiver away from Josh Norman, and you throw away from him all night long.
Easy.
And if you want to throw in his vicinity, that's fine. He'll hoot and holler and bat one pass down, and then the rest of the game he'll just hang out on the other side and not do anything, and then you'll let your ground game roll. The Redskins' defensive line, not very good. Not very good. I like the Cowboys here. I like them with the upset. I don't know about the over/under. It's 45. I'm kind of with non-sports guy Doug. We talked a little off podcast with non-sports guy Doug about over/unders and how they seem they're like eye candy. They're so tempting, but it's usually a good idea to stay away from them. But I'm with you, bud. I'm buying the Cowboy stock. Next game, New Orleans versus the New York Football Giants. I had the Giants by 3.
Man, we are right on the same page here with most of these. I was exactly the same. Giants by 3.
Nice. It's actually the Giants by 4.5. So we were off by 0.5 point. I think this is going to be a high scoring game, just because I think it's a Drew Brees, Eli Manning shootout.
Yeah, totally.
I like the Giants, not necessarily the points. I'd take them on the money line, but I like the Giants.
I do too. Yeah, I think this is going to be an old-fashioned. Eli Manning looks like he's got some weapons back. He threw a touchdown to Victor Cruz, so maybe we're going to flash back to 3, 4, 5 years ago when the salsa dancer was in the end zone a lot. And New Orleans still has they've got the Rob Ryan or the Rob which Ryan? One of the Ryan hangovers. They've got a Ryan hangover.
Yeah.
They've got a Rob Ryan hangover. So their defense is terrible. And, man, I was just watching an NFL Insiders show, and they started talking about all the dead cap money that the New Orleans Saints pay to players that don't play for them anymore. It is appalling. Right. It is absolutely appalling. And there's no way you can put together a competent team when you're paying people not to play for you. New Orleans is garbage. I would definitely take the Giants and the points. I was really hoping that Brees.
Points, huh?
I think I like the points. Yeah, 4.5 doesn't scare me too much. I think it is going to be a high scoring affair. But I think Eli Manning's going to throw 2 more touchdowns than Drew Brees, and it's going to be 35-21.
35-21. Oh, so you 35. Okay. Yeah.
What's the number on that?
Just talked me into the G-Man.
What's the over?
53 is the over under.
53 is a pretty high number. Mm-hmm. I might still like that over. I'll have to do a little more research on that. But I think there's going to be points.
I feel like
a lot of points scored in this game.
Yeah, I feel like the Giants defense can rush the passer a little bit better than maybe the Oakland Raiders could last week. So that may limit Drew Brees. I mean, if they can hit Brees a couple times, then his numbers are going to take a dip.
Yeah.
But I like the Giants. You may have talked me into the Giants. I'm building my parlay. I really appreciate it. Thank you, G.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about, man. Right? That's what this podcast is for, of course. Non-sports guy Doug is like clamoring at me like, can't you help me out, man? I need a podcast to really help. I'm not quite sure. You got to give the people what they want, you know?
We should. Well, that's why we're here. We should say, for those of you listening, that gambling is a lot of fun, and it is fun to do. But please be careful. And always remember, too, that there's only really one person that gives a shit about your money, and that's you. So make sure that you are taking care of your money and you're being smart of this. And if you don't feel it, don't bet it. You know. With that being said, let's move to our next game.
Excellent public service announcement. Responsible gambling. Legal responsible gambling only.
I'm a former public educator. It's been ingrained in me to do that. I apologize.
There you go. I love it. It's good.
We got don't have a line from Miami, New England, so we'll skip that game. I thought New England should be favored by 6. Do you see anything up on Bovada now? Do you have it up?
No, I still don't see this game up. I had them favored by a touchdown. I saw a line on ESPN.com has on their app. They do have they have odds. I have no idea where they come from. But they had New England as a 6-point favorite.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like New England and Janine Garofalo throwing the ball down there. Is Gronkowski? How long is Gronk out? I have no idea. I need to look at the injury report.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen injury reports, and I didn't actually get what was totally wrong with him.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and say if you're doing a pick 'em, bet New England because they're pretty good, and it's not in Miami. This is in New England.
Yes.
New England usually struggles when they go to Miami, not when Miami goes to New England. So
well, and it's usually Tom
homecoming.
It's usually Brady that struggles in Miami, so that wouldn't even it would be with Janine playing. They wouldn't even struggle. That
Our next
character.
game, Kansas.
No, anyways, I like the Patriots. I would probably take the Patriots. Yeah, definitely. Next.
Okay. We'll go ahead and mark that. My bad.
Mark it.
Kansas City at the Robert Patterson / Cedric Dickory led / Brock Osweiler led Houston Texans. I had Houston 1.5. What do you got? I
had Houston at 1. So yeah, close.
Okay. And they're actually a 2-point favorite. They're at home. Wasn't there I feel like Kansas City had to beat Houston last year, right? Wasn't there a game that we won some money on where we bet against Houston and bet on Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs? Didn't that happen?
Shit, I don't remember now. I think that was part of the parlay that Alabama killed.
That Alabama fucked up. Excuse my language.
Yeah. Right.
No. Yeah.
Because that was one that I think we picked correct, but it didn't actually pay because the parlay didn't come in.
Right.
Well, I believe you're right. They had to. Yeah. Kansas City had to spoil something for. Man, I can't remember now. Talking nonsense.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. This is the second week in a row, Grant. I feel like I'm putting my faith in Andy Reid. But I like those. I like the dog there. I do. I mean, Houston struggled with the Jay Cutler-led Chicago Bears. By the way, did you see Jay Cutler just act like a total douchebag to one of his receivers when he threw an interception? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Vintage Jay Cutler. The play kind of breaks down. He scrambles around a little bit. He thinks that his wide receiver is going to break outside, so that's where he throws the ball. But the wide receiver just kind of sat and didn't really do anything, and Cutler threw it right to the DB. And the very next shot is Cutler like pointing his finger like a total snob in the direction that he wanted him to go, and then taking his chin strap off. If he isn't the character from The Replacements, who tries to kick Keanu Reeves out, I don't know who is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's great. He just needs a little like soul patch, little goatee thing on there.
Yeah.
Smoking Jay's the worst, man. He's the worst. He's a terrible person. He's just terrible. But they scored. They scored on them. He still got 2 touchdowns past what's supposed to be a pretty decent Houston defense. So that's a little troubling. I don't think the Bears are good. So yeah, I don't know. This game makes me nervous. I don't trust Andy Reid on the road. Yeah, but Houston getting points. Those points are pretty tasty, and especially in a teaser, you could add a couple points onto that, 6 or 7 points for the Chiefs might not be too bad. I don't feel good about this game. I don't like Cedric Diggory. I don't feel the magic flowing too much.
The over-under is 43.5.
Yeah, that's right in there. I mean, I lean towards.
I don't like this game.
I would lean towards points in the under, but I'm probably going to stay away. Not a pretty game.
I don't like this game. Yep, not a great game.
Nope,
not a great game. Did you get a line? One of the other games, there were 3 games that we couldn't get a line for. Seattle at the Los Angeles Rams. Did you see anything on that?
I saw the ESPN line on Monday, or it might have been Tuesday, was at 3.5 for Seattle. Seattle's a 3.5 favorite. I had them listed as a 7.5 point favorite, which I think is still pretty conservative. But Seattle didn't score any points. 5.5. Okay, yeah, nice. That's pretty close. I think LA was so bad, but yeah, Seattle scored no points week 1. They really screwed a lot of people's with that big number on their cover. A lot of people had them included in parlays and things, and they just barely squeaked out a win in week 1.
Well, and Russell Hustle and Bustle has an ankle injury.
Yeah, Dominican Sue. It didn't look intentional, but we never know with that guy. No. Definitely stepped on the ankle, gave it a good wrench. So yeah, he's hobbled.
At least he's moved on from stepping on crotches to stepping on ankles inadvertently.
It's a slight improvement.
Growth for Dominican, right? No, I think Seattle. You have to take a waiver out on him right now. Thomas Rawls did nothing in fantasy, right? He didn't get very many points, right?
No, and I'm actually quite pleased with that because I have Kristen Michael on my bench. So run Kristen Michael, please.
Right. I'm not ready to buy in with Seattle. But with that being said, the Rams are an absolute mess. So I like betting against the Rams there. Maybe that's why they're holding it. I bet you they're holding the line because nobody knows if Russell's going to play or not. I bet you that's why they're doing that.
That's exactly the reason why. Yeah, the health of Russell Wilson is why that line's not up right now, of course. Yeah, okay. Definitely. Okay. Definitely.
Should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on. I wouldn't. We'll see what the line is. If Russell plays, I probably like Seattle, but it's a weird game.
And even if Russell doesn't play, I still like Seattle. But it would depend on the points.
Yeah. Yep. Let's move on.
Our next game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Arizona Cardinals. I had Arizona by 4. What do you think?
I had Arizona by 5.
Okay. It's actually, you were closer than me. Good job by you, G. It was minus 6.5. Ooh, that makes me like Tampa.
I definitely like Tampa. I thought picking at 5, I probably still would have liked Tampa anyways, and to see the line actually at 6.5, I like those points. Yeah, tasty points. Arizona did not look strong. I think Jameis can keep it close at least, if not get the outright win. I like the Bucs.
I like that a lot too. I like the road dog there. I do. Arizona seems like they're going backwards. It doesn't seem like they're going forwards. And I feel really bad for Larry Fitzgerald. One of the guys who I think he gets forgotten. The last 3 years in fantasy, he goes in like the 4th or 5th round. And really, he's probably a 2nd round guy, right? Like he's a Hall of Famer. And I don't know, it feels like his career is getting wasted down in Arizona.
Well, it is, but I think we always knew that it would.
Yeah.
He made it to a Super Bowl, man. He had a huge play. He's had some playoff highlights.
Did he make it to a Super Bowl? My God. One of the highlights of my sporting fan life was when Pittsburgh won that Super Bowl with Santonio Holmes and catching the ball. But Larry Fitzgerald caught a pass and went straight and split the safeties. And you could hear a pin drop in my house. We were petrified.
He was incredible, man.
Was coming down.
So I mean, it's nice that it didn't get totally wasted. We're not on like a Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson level of wasting a career in Detroit.
That's true.
So at least he has some moments, and there's still time. If Carson Palmer can just not be Carson Palmer, God, that's asking a lot. But
your boy Carson Palmer.
Oh, Carson, statue Carson. I don't know if he can rebound from that last year's playoff. I really don't. I think this Arizona team's cursed now. If they come out and struggle like that, I don't know. I mean, this will be another tell game too. If Tampa Bay and Jameis can play with the big boys, then they should be able to go in and beat Arizona, just like New England did. If you're really up to par.
can we go ahead and say that anybody who plays quarterback at the University of Southern California and comes in the NFL is basically all hype? I mean, Carson Palmer has to be the best guy that's come out in the last 20 years, right? But Mark Sanchez, I mean, did anybody sign the butt fumble?
Yeah, Dallas did.
Okay, so he's backing up a 23-year-old rookie. Good job out of you, Sanchez.
Yep.
And then Matt Leinart is out of the league now.
Boy, he flamed
Carson
out
Palmer,
pretty spectacularly too.
Yeah, man.
He went out with a bang.
Well, and who was the other kid? The Barkley kid, Berkeley, whatever.
Matt Barkley, I
He's like
believe,
a
is
back.
still on a roster. He played a bit for the Eagles and didn't do great, but I think he's still floating around there.
Overrated, man. Overrated.
Yeah.
USC
Yep.
quarterbacks, overrated. And obviously Reggie Bush, USC running backs are overrated too.
Take USC linemen. Take their offensive linemen. They're good.
Right. The over-under is 50 in the Tampa Bay, Arizona game. What do you think?
I think I like the over. That's a pretty high number, but I think Jameis is going to be a touchdown slinging machine, and I think that they just go deep touchdown for deep touchdown with Larry Fitzgerald and Mike Evans going back and forth. I like the over.
Nice. Good job out of you. We'll go ahead and mark that. Our next game, Jacksonville at San Diego. Even though Jacksonville is on the road in sunny San Diego, it may be a home game. Although I don't know if very many people are gonna be traveling from Florida to San Diego.
Probably not.
Anyway, I was impressed with Jacksonville last week. They actually, the one parlay bet that I did put down, I should have teased Green Bay. Green Bay won the game, but they only won by 3 or 4 points, and the line was either 5 or 6. So if I tease that, I hit my parlay. Jacksonville, TJ Yeldon looked all right, scored a decent amount of fantasy points. I'm still not a believer in Blake Bortles, but I like Jacksonville by 3 in this game. What did you think?
I had San Diego favored by 1, so I had it pretty close.
Okay. Ooh, we're split here. I like
We
this.
are.
But I saw the line from Bovado, San Diego -3. I'm taking Jacksonville here. Gee, I like it.
Oh, I like Jacksonville too. I think the handicap. Yeah, I think they're pretty close, and with 3 points at home, I think Jacksonville can cover that. I don't love Bortles either. Yeah, I don't. These organizations are hopeless. Jacksonville and San Diego. I mean, what a depressing game. Nobody shows up for Jacksonville, and San Diego's stadium's falling apart.
Right, and Keenan Allen he got hurt. He blew his knee.
That's right. Oh, okay. Wow, I wonder if that line moved at all. Yeah, I like Jacksonville without Keenan Allen. Yeah, take the Jags.
I like it. Over under 47.
I don't get a feel for that one. I'd probably go under.
Yeah.
I'd probably lean under. I'm not sure if San Diego can keep scoring that many points. But Danny Woodhead looked
Phillip
good.
Rivers will do just enough. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Melvin Gordon had a really big. He had a couple
That's
runs
right.
early, didn't he?
The fantasy goat of last year came through with some points.
Ugh. Yeah, I like Jacksonville there. I'd stay away from the over under though.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool.
Mark it.
Atlanta at the Oakland Raiders. Soon to be Las Vegas Raiders. God, I really hope they do move to Vegas, bud. I really hope that happens.
I
know
think
I've
so
said
too.
that a couple podcasts in a row.
It'd be perfect.
It just fits. Let it happen. NFL, let Oakland move to Las Vegas.
Yeah,
we'll go ahead and
just-
mark it. I had Oakland
let it
by
happen.
7. What do you think?
I had this a lot closer. I only had Oakland favored by 2.
Okay. So we were. I'm clearly on the bandwagon for Oakland there with mine. It's actually Oakland -4.5. You're closer than me. I don't think Atlanta's very good, and I don't think they have a defense. And I don't think Matt Ryan is very good. I like Oakland here, even with the points.
Yeah, that amount of points makes me a little bit nervous, but I'd still probably lean towards them. I think you're right. I think Atlanta is a team declining. I think Oakland's on the rise. I think they take that that really exciting, intense road victory in New Orleans and just keep riding it. And I don't see Atlanta given anything. I mean, they should have enough talent. They should be able to play, but year after year they're just disappointing. With 4.5 points, even with it, I might look at a tease in there. to bring those points down a little bit more. But yeah, I'd lean Oakland.
Mm-hmm. No, I like the Raiders a lot there. Also, Julio Jones is banged up a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah, I think there was a little nick or a cut or something. He didn't have a spectacular fantasy day.
Right. He on average was like the second or third guy picked in leagues, right? Like,
yeah,
Antonio Brown was the consensus, maybe not unanimous, but he was definitely, most people who you talk to thought he would go first. And I think he proved his mettle last week against Washington. But Julio didn't have a stellar week last week.
No, he wasn't outstanding. And I mean, I actually took Julio with the third pick. And right now it's looking like maybe A.J. Green was the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. A.J. Green's tough, though, because he usually scores a lot of points like the first half of the year, and then he, breaks a toenail. And
trails off, yeah.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And does the Cincinnati Bengal thing.
Boy, that is a Bengals thing, man. Isn't it? Yeah.
The over-under's 49.5. What do you think?
I'd lean towards the over. I think there's going to be significant points put up in this game. Yeah, 49.5. Take the over.
I like it.
Mark
next game. Mark it. There you go. Sorry, my bad. Our next game, the Indianapolis Colts at your Denver Broncos. Is this a Sunday night game? No. This is a late afternoon game.
I think so. I believe it's one of the later games, yeah.
Late afternoon game. Indy at Denver. I had Denver by 7, and I don't know why I did that. That's a little high for Denver.
That's quite a bit. Maybe not. I had Denver at 4 points as a favorite,
okay.
-4.
Okay. Did you find a line on that? I couldn't find a line on that one.
Not on Bovada. I found one on ESPN. Not sure how reliable it is, but you were actually pretty close to it. I found Denver favored by 6.
Huh. Are the Colts that bad?
I mean, I don't know if the Colts are that bad, but their offensive line is, and Denver's defensive line is that good. So Andrew Luck's going to be running for his fucking life.
Well, Luck is definitely good.
Yeah,
like that debate is done. He's the real deal.
Right. He was significantly injured last year. He is a legitimate NFL quarterback that can put up significant numbers and win games on his own, basically.
Well, and the Colts have had the Broncos number the last couple of years, haven't they?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. But I feel like that was a little more due to Peyton. But historically, with Peyton playing for the Colts, the Broncos always struggle against Indy, it seems like. They always have problems.
Right.
So I don't know if they're gonna get over those with Peyton's absence, or if it's just a thing that Indy's got their number. You'd think that with that defense, they should be able to get after Andrew Luck. I mean, who's on Indianapolis' defense? Robert Mathis still playing? I mean,
he's still playing.
Yes, he is. He is.
He's been around forever, man.
So, and he's still producing, but I mean, I don't think that they have what it takes. I think Trevor Simeon's going to have a nice, calm performance at home. They're going to pick him apart. They're going to score 4 touchdowns, and the defense is just going to annihilate Andrew Luck. I think 21-3. I love how
you said that. I love how you said that. How he's going to have a calm night.
I hope, just nice and calm. Don't make any big throws or anything. Don't force anything. No screen pass interceptions.
The Broncos will be calm on offense. They really, if Demaryius is out, that puts a lot of pressure on C.J. Anderson. You think he's up for it?
I do, because I think the offensive line has improved, like we said at the beginning. I think C.J. he's stocky enough that he doesn't have to do anything too crazy. I think he's just got to be patient, pick his holes, get 5 yards a pop, and they just march down the field. And again, like I said, you get 2 or 3 touchdowns with this defense, you're good to go. Just grind the clock out, and Kubiak knows how to coach that way. I think the scheme is gonna shine through. I think the Broncos are solid. I think there should be no reason they shouldn't win this game.
Here's what I'll tell you to keep a watch for, G. The Colts have a lot of guys banged up in the secondary. They got a safety who's questionable. They got a starting cornerback who's questionable, and Patrick Robinson. And they got a bunch of second stringers who are banged up. So keep your eye on the injury report if you're betting Indy this week. That may make you want to stay away. I'm still riding the Mile High Magic. I like Denver here. Points still make me nervous. I don't have a feel for the team yet, but I picked Denver straight on the money line. I
think I'd like Denver a little more on the money line too. I just don't think with with that style of play, with that grinding, defense, keep it close, run the clock out with a rookie quarterback. Big point spreads are not ideal. So if this does come out at 6 or 7 points to Denver, I probably wouldn't take the spread. I'd probably be looking for a money line.
I like it. Good job, G.
All right.
We got 2 more games. You ready to finish this up?
Let's finish it up.
All right. The Sunday night game, the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings.
That should be a good one.
It should be a good game. The Green Bay Packers, who I in our preseason podcast, I had them winning 15 games. I think they win this one. I have Green Bay by 3.
I initially picked the spread at Green Bay favored by 5, and it looked like that you were right on. It looked like Bovada had them at 3.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I have to publicly apologize to you when we were having our pre-production text message 24 hours ago.
You got me all fired up, man. You got me all fired up.
I could have sworn I saw a line of Minnesota -2. I like Green Bay here. If you're going to give points to anybody playing Green Bay, I'm going to take that bet. I like Aaron Rodgers. I'm a believer in Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, me too. And I like that spread, only 3 points. I think Green Bay is definitely a better team. I think Minnesota's defense is legit, but I think Rodgers can still get some touchdowns on him. I like Green Bay by at least 7 or 8 points.
Well, he's got Jordy Nelson, who seems like a comfort blanket for him, and Randall Cobb, and a slimmed down Eddie Lacy. Green Bay looks a lot better, and I think Jacksonville's defense is better than people give them credit. It was also in Jacksonville. It was like 120 degrees out there in that game, wasn't it?
Yeah, the weather was kind of crazy.
Yeah. So Green Bay's going to be in Minnesota. Maybe a humid night in Minnesota, but at least you're up north, so it's got to be colder than where it was in Jacksonville. I like Green Bay with the points. The over/under's 44. What do you think?
It depends on the weather, I think. Man, 44. That's right around there. I'd lean, if I'm betting Green Bay in the points, I'd take the over because, if Green Bay is going to cover that spread, they're going to get to the Minnesota defense, and then that'll drive the over. So I would use those together. And if I didn't like one way, I wouldn't use one without the other. I'll put it that way.
There you go. I like that. The Aaron Rodgers has my favorite non-Peyton Manning commercial.
Oh, yeah?
Now. Have you seen the one? I think it's for, what does he do? What's the discount double check? What's that one from?
Allstate?
Like, what company is that? Yeah, so
like
it's
Allstate
commercial with Clay Matthews where he goes to hit the fly with a golf club and goes at sending through. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's pretty funny.
I don't know if I've seen it.
Oh yeah, I'll send you the link for it. It's good stuff.
Aaron Rodgers, I think with Peyton Manning's retirement, I think he's got the belt for the funniest commercials, best commercials.
Yeah, he's great. Good stuff.
Yeah, I like Rodgers too. I like Green Bay.
Yep. Our last game, G-Money, the Monday night game, the terrible Monday night game. This game looks awful. Although it'll probably end up being like a really good game, just going in. I don't necessarily know how you promote it. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Chicago Bears. You have the 1-0 Carson Wentz heading up against the 0-1 Jay Cutler. I had Philly by 1.5, and I can't believe that I'm saying Philadelphia by 1.5, but I am. What do you got?
I actually had Philly by 1. Yeah, I picked Philly as a favorite.
Okay. We were off here, my friend.
Yeah,
it's Chicago
we were.
-3.
Yeah, give me Wentz. Give me the rookie.
Are we putting too much stock in a rookie quarterback week 2? Are we doing that with him?
I don't think so, because I think it looked like Philly wasn't, I think they had a decent all-around team. I don't think it was just Wentz. Right. I think they're fine, and I think, he's the real deal. I like Philly.
He can huck the ball, can he?
He can.
The ball looked pretty coming out of his hands.
Yeah, I think he's got all the talent in the world. I think the only thing that's going to stop him is if he learns how to throw turnovers, if he learns how to throw interceptions. And as long as he keeps those down, I think he's going to be fine. I got no faith in Chicago. I think Jay Cutler is just a piece of crap. It's plenty of points. It's a 4-point swing from where I thought it should be. I'll take Philadelphia.
I like Philly too. The over/under is 42.5. I'd probably go under there, just because I don't think the offense is. Just because I don't think either one of these teams are very good.
Yeah, I'd lean towards under. I think if Carson Wentz is a stud, he'd push that over. But in general, I don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored.
Yeah, and I feel like Chicago's known for defense. Then they may not have a bunch of marquee players, but I feel like at home they're going to have a little bit of advantage. It's Monday Night Football. Bears, Chicago fans will turn out even, they'll, unless the Cubs are playing that night. Are the Cubs playing that night? Because if the Cubs are playing that night, then
I don't know.
Chicago's going to be paying attention.
They might be. That's an interesting thing to look at, actually. That could have a huge sway on what the crowd is like and how this game turns out, actually. Something to pay attention to.
Makes me not want to bet this game, though. There are only a couple that I feel good about, and the Monday night game is not one of them.
Yeah, the national spotlight game, two teams that you're not totally sure about, rookie quarterback, all that stuff. This could really go anyway. This could be a blowout on either side. Yeah, squirrely one. I'd stay away.
Cool.
No, I'm not going to stay away. 4 points. Give me the Philly. Give me the Eagles. Fuck Jay Cutler.
You're all in.
It is anything could happen. Yeah, anything could happen.
I think my best bets this week, G. I like the Giants at -4.5. I like the Tampa Bay Bucks +6.5, and I think I like the Jacksonville Jaguars at +3. I like those.
Yeah, I like most of those too. I'm going to agree with most of them. I also like Dallas. Definitely give me the Cowboys.
Oh, that's right.
And give me the Pack on top of those, and I'll find my parlay out of that crop, I think.
That sounds good, my friend. We'll definitely have to keep talking off pod before we do this, but we got the second week of the NFL season kicks off on Thursday with the Jets and the Buffalo Bills. Should be fun.
It should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, man. You got anything else you need to talk about? Get off your chest. We have been going for quite a long time here, my friend.
Yeah, we're hit over an hour. I think we're at an hour 10. I got all the stuff off. I said my hilarious stat about Reggie Bush getting a negative yards per carry, negative average. That was fun. No, not too much. Just looking forward to the rest of the week. Kind of nervous about the Bronco game, about Indy, but no, looking forward to week 2. Looking forward to finding some gems, finding some picks.
I'm with you, my friend. Let's go ahead and mark it.
Mark it!